So how did you get into this? How did you become an acting teacher?
Yeah, well, I was an actor, writer, director from a young age. I just that was my escape, and that was my way of, finding my creativity and my voice as a teenager. I went to NYU early. I went on scholarship. I had this scholarship into the playwriting department. It was just kind of like my life was sort of headed in a really exciting direction. And there was a traumatic incident that happened, which I won't talk about right now, but and basically I lost my proprioception. So I don't know if you know what that is, but proprioception is basically your mind's ability to know where your body is in space. So for about 5 years, I had to drop out of NYU, and I had to kind of figure out how to put myself together again. It would be a sensation like I thought it would feel like my back was on my front, and I didn't know where my legs were, and I was literally grabbing at parts of my body. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really have any kind of paradigm to kind of put it together. I've since put it together in new ways, but probably even more importantly, acting, writing, directing was always my means of connecting to myself in the deepest way. So it's just like, I'm going to use the tools that I have to kind of figure out what's going on. So it was literally like Humpty Dumpty putting himself back together again through the art of acting. And so my orientation to acting has always been as a healing process. It's always also been as a career and a way of articulating this art form. But because of my deep connection with it, I think I've really been able to see kind of the mechanism of how it works. Like actors always talk about, you are your own instrument, right? Like a guitarist has a guitar to play, a painter has a brush to use and paints to use, but an actor uses themselves. And so
and they embody their entire selves. It's not just about acting from here, it's about acting from head to toe.
Yeah.
And so if you're not connected with your own body, I can't imagine how that would work.
I look at acting like a martial art. It is a self-study, and it's a study of every aspect of who you are. So it's your body, it's your voice, it's your imagination, it's your emotional life, it's your spiritual life, it's how you connect to others. So I sort of had this moment of kind of being disconnected from everything and then sort of putting back the pieces together through the form of acting. And as a result, I think I kind of learned to speak to how it works, if that makes sense. One of the central ideas of the studio is the more connected you are to yourself, the more connected you are to any character. It's like acting is a place within yourself, it's a place of alignment, and the more you are connected to that place, it's almost as if the character, if you're not, is like all the way in the corner of the room, and if you are, it's like the character walks over and is all of a sudden with you. Because, and this is, I'm kind of a mystic around this stuff, as you're probably getting, but I don't think we properly talk about what acting is. I mean, people love it because it's this transcendent moment where they are both themselves and not themselves at the same time. How do you explain what that is? It is a creative act, and it is, acting is not the art of pretending. It's not, I'm going to make this face and pretend to be this person. It's the art of becoming. There's a transformation that happens.
It's a Zen moment where you're truly living in the present, and you're not about the preparation or like what's going to happen. It's about being yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
So I get that 100%.
The process for learning anything is the same. You go from being unconscious and incompetent. So I'm unaware I'm doing something badly, to being conscious and incompetent. I'm aware I'm doing something badly.
Yeah.
To being conscious and competent, I'm aware I'm doing it correctly. To being unconscious and competent, I don't have to think about it and I'm doing it correctly.
Oh, I love that.
And that goes for walking, that goes for talking, that also goes for transforming into a character.
Yeah.
The moment that I think is most interesting is any craftsman can get to the conscious and competent phase. But in that phase is also your self-consciousness. There's also the awareness of doing it right and of possibly doing it wrong. And that's where so many actors get stuck. In order to get from that place to unconscious and competent, something else takes place. There is a creative moment of release.
Yeah.
You have to have faith in something in order to actually become the character and not suggest the character. So, this conversation in my studio around, spirituality, entertainment, and activism, these are kind of the three tenets of the studio.
Yeah.
And the idea is that for an actor, these hold life's biggest questions. And I don't have the answers to those questions. I don't care what your answers are, but I know that asking them will help you find your internal compass and will help you have that distinctive creative voice that makes you a star or makes you completely unique. So our job is within the framework of the acting craft to propose those questions and elicit a very singular something from each actor.
I love that. That's huge thinking. Huge thinking. It's so much more beyond like, what's your objective?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's teaching people a whole different set of tools that, I mean, literally has the potential to make them superstars because they're flying without a net.
Sure. And all of those. I had a teacher once say, with a script, if you know 3 things, you will see 3 things on the script. If you know 1,000,000, you will see 1,000,000. And the knowledge is not only what the script is. It's not only, oh, this is a single cam comedy and it works this way, and this is what the writer is looking for, and these are the beats, and these are the, etc. But it's also knowing all the emotional experiences that are embedded into it. And so I have this moment of relationship with this material where I actually see myself in it. So the more I'm expanding who I am, and that's why I think of acting as a martial art. It is like life expansion. It's continual self-awareness and expansion. The more that I then can see and become on this script. And that's when characters become incredibly nuanced and complex and rich. So, I've had students that I've been in my class for 8 years, 9 years, because they're working on series, they're working on films, but they never want to stop that process of expanding. It's really like pursuing a higher sense of self.